A chaotic scene in a typically quiet Queens neighborhood over the weekend. A mob of people taking over the streets by driving wildly, and things only escalated from there when they set a car on fire and physically attacked homeowners who tried to intervene. Wow. Here's more from that scene and a warning. This footage may be disturbing for some viewers.
Oh, bunch of animals, bro. Wow, dudes.
Yo, chill.
And as that violent unrest carried on, residents...
What's the point? Like, did they come outside and say, hey, listen, bro, maybe you shouldn't be doing all this weirdo activity specifically in front of my house? And then you then proceeded exclusively to start pummeling them because they didn't want all this weirdo activity happening outside their house? It's kind of the vibe I'm getting from that, guys.
Were apparently told to call a quality of life team and not the NYPD.
Quality of life team?
Over what is to come once the next mayor takes office. Join me now to discuss is former New York City Republican Councilman Joe Borelli.
No.
Joe, it's good to see you. So this all happened at 2:30 a.m. on Sunday, and some of the residents who tried to intervene were beat up, one so badly that this mob broke his rib and nose and even punched his wife. Who are these people, and why is this happening?
The wife? Losers.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that even people who try to correct
Deviants.
this behavior end up worse in this situation. Right. But this is sort of a new trend. We're seeing this happen on TikTok and Instagram and social media, where people sort of take over a street.
This is not a new trend.
All sorts of dangerous car tricks just to get attention. Unfortunately, this incident escalated beyond that when this neighbor came out and said, "Hey, maybe you don't want to cause a ruckus in front of my house at 2:30 in the morning." But this is sort of the lawlessness that we could expect to see when police departments are defunded, when recruitment is down, when the number of overall officers decreases, because there were calls to the police
it's more than
department
that
night. And unfortunately, the precinct that covers this area simply did not have enough officers to respond. They were responding to what they thought was more pressing incidents nearby, and it took an extra time for it to be addressed as what it was, which was an assault on a neighbor.
Yeah, here's the quote from Vicky Palladino, who represents this area. She said on X, response to this incident was less than ideal. Residents reporting the incident
less
to
than
911
ideal?
were told that quality of life teams and 911 should handle the situation. Unacceptable. In fact, these violent street takeovers should be met with maximum force by the police department. The police later apologized and said that they thought that this was a drag racing incident and they didn't have enough police officers at the time to handle this situation. That raises a lot of questions because the police commissioner right now, Jessica Tisch, says she wants to increase the number of police officers on the force. The incoming mayor says the numbers we have right now are fine. So what do you think about this debate?
He's wrong. I mean, he's 100% wrong. We had 2,500 officers resign in 2025 or retire in 2025. Mayor Adams announced the department would budget for 5,000 additional officers to make up for multiple years of shortfall. That is the right approach. Mayor Adams should reconsider, and to talk about having some quality of life team address this is ridiculous. These kids don't need a guidance counselor or midnight basketball. They need to be punished. They need to be punished immediately. There needs to be police on the scene.
Right.
Unfortunately, this incident is one where if police were here earlier when this 911 call first came through, it would not have resulted in an assault. It would have been just a case of perhaps some teenagers misbehaving. Maybe some summonses would have been issued. But because the police didn't respond, it escalated into an assault on a neighbor.
Yeah, it's a great point. And it's called a quality of life team now, which I don't think many New Yorkers even knew existed. But Mayor-elect Zoran Mamdani also wants to create this department of community safety where social workers respond to some crimes, shifting responsibility away from the police department. So could we see more of this type of response? And is this the right plan to keep New Yorkers safe?
Yeah, look, Carly, we certainly fail on the second responders, the people who come after the police, the children's services, the domestic violence counselors. We're not doing a good job following up after those incidents. That's 100% accurate. Mayor Mamdani is right to focus on that. The problem is he wants those people to be the first responders. We know domestic violence incidents are some of the most dangerous incidents police officers respond to, and we would never want to jeopardize their safety, the jeopardy of the victim, victim and even the safety of the attacker in some cases by having a community safety officer respond. We should have the police respond as they do and then make an assessment on what the follow-up should be, not vice versa. It'll be too long before we can get an armed police officer there should things go wrong if one of these, community social workers show up, without a police officer.
Yeah,
That's basically what it sounds like, guys. A bunch of hold on, guys. Yeah, listening to the story itself, it does definitely feel like it's just a bunch of community social workers. Guys, I'm so happy I left New York years ago, many, many years ago. I would never go back. My wife wants to go back and I'm just visit at least, right? And I'm just yeah, I don't know about New York, bro. Not anymore. And when I see things like this, it kind of proves my point here. The fact that you're even allowing these absolute deviants to roam the streets at nighttime is crazy to me. You know exactly that there's nothing really good happening specifically at these wild and wicked hours here. And to the point where you now are saying, we're going to go ahead and send out basically social workers, because that's kind of how I took that. It sounds like more, let's go ahead and talk to the people that are doing bad things. No, bro, send them in jail. Send them to jail immediately. Why are we talking to them? We obviously know that their mannerisms are dictating that they're going to think that it's absolutely acceptable to act in the behavior that they're acting in. It's not acceptable. Jail. All right. That's it here. All right. No more carrot in some of these areas here, guys. And that's kind of my point here. There's too much carrot in some of these absolutely, occasionally ghettoized type of areas, bro. All right. Yes. Do I think the White House most likely is going to utilize this specific incident as an incident, or the inciting incident specifically that's going to bring the National Guard to New York City? I think the National Guard should be in New York City. They're there already, actually. I think they've been there since 9/11 at least, right? But we need something that has the ability to stop the deviants from doing deviant activities. I think once you start realizing, maybe how about this here? Go to the areas where a lot of these street takeovers are basically happening, and then immediately put cameras on all the corners, bro. Shouldn't there be cameras at every intersection anyway, right? Make sure we can kind of see this. And if you see this happening, immediately send whoever you need to send to basically pack these deviants up, bro. All right, that's it here. Why did those people deserve to be pummeled like they did? They didn't. They didn't. You're wreaking havoc, lowering their basic, their property value with all this literal nonsense. Guys, that's what you're doing here. It's their duty to protect their property, let's just say this year. A bunch of deviants outside doing burnouts in the street, bro. Arrest them all, jail. I don't care about their existence. Can't. I'm sorry. Take that how you want to take it. All right, jail indefinitely. You can't get out. Bye. Oh, you're doing burnouts in the street? Okay, jail, all of you. But that's my baby. Okay, what's that mean to me, bro? All right, I'll come over here. Let me have a conversation with you while I arrest you too. I'm arresting parents too, bro. I say this all the time, and I mean that. I think the parents are generally responsible for the actions of their kids, guys. Truth be told here, to a certain extent, obviously, because it's bro, you raised that deviant to be that deviant. You sure did. You did that. You raised that deviant. Jail. You're going with him. Guys, do you want to watch movies with me? I never actually thought to promote it over here, guys. But if you guys do want to watch it, guys, we have hundreds of movies. And I mean hundreds of movies that we've reacted to. You guys can come watch them with me if you want to, along with many TV shows. Currently, we're working on the show Dexter, along with Vikings. And we have a lot of series that are already completed. But if you guys do want to watch it with me, the link is in the description. Everything's available at the second tier. But of course, if that's not your thing, guys, don't worry, right? Listen, like and subscribe.